Evening, everyone. It's Paulie. So it's been more than 7 days, I think, since my last update, my last live stream. Obviously, I have not stuck to my schedule as mentioned I would post COVID. As you can see, I also need a shave. I look absolutely. I've just realised how feral, I think my parents used to call me, how feral I look. So yeah, I guess I'll start with, we'll get rid of the bad news first, and then we'll move on to the good news, because it's life. It's unfortunate that the Australian basketball community lost a very young and promising young man by the name of Joel Burton earlier last week in the US. He had a huge career ahead of him, a lot of potential, and he was representing Western Australia, and he was playing over there for a US college, and unfortunately, he passed away due to unfortunate circumstances, and they held a memorial game for him last night, which was absolutely touching. It was beautiful. Hundreds of people turned up, and this is just as the COVID restrictions have eased. Sorry, sis, I'll give you a wave. There we go. So to be invited to be able to film and photograph that event, it was rather somber, but it was all in good spirit, and that's one of the beautiful things about the WA basketball community. They are very, very tight, they're united, and the game was streamed live, so the family and friends around the world could watch it, and it was a beautiful game. Of course, this morning, Mrs. Sawtell's funeral, so I've known Martin, her son, for probably close to 35 years, since Bathurst, Sydney and Perth. He stalked me to Sydney, and then I stalked him to Perth. Not really, but his mother passed last week, so we attended that funeral this morning. I mean, as you guys know, I'm a pretty emotional person, so I was an absolute wreck. My eyes are still red. It's it's good to have a release though. But that was a beautiful ceremony up at Pinjarra, just up near Padbury, the chapel there. So Martin and his sister, I can't remember his sister's name, and his father, but they were all there. A lot of family members from the Finnish community, so that was beautiful. And that was also streamed across the world. So, I mean, one thing about COVID I will say is that it does allow people, streaming has now become a lot more accepted and widestream. And I know that when my cousins interstate either interact in sports or, as in this situation of a funeral or a memorial game, family members and friends are able to watch it overseas, which I think is the positive to come from this. And it's been a busy 30 days with Mr. Sergio Cazzotti and, of course, Matt Ewan passing as well. But on to good stuff. So, as you know, last week I was working with DRN1 to help promote Pride in July. So, Pride in July is about promoting sexual awareness for not just the LGBTQ. I'm missing a syllable there, but the wider LGBTQ plus community, about educating them about sexual health, the options, and what's available in Perth. And I think also, being a Caucasian, straight male, firstly, it's an honour to be able to assist them and volunteer and help their initiative, but I also learnt a lot. There was a lot of things there that I think they should be teaching in schools, because while your children may not know their sexuality just yet, it's still great information, because you don't want kids, you want kids in the know and practicing safe practices. So I think that's really important, because as was expressed to me at the M Clinic at the WA AIDS Council, that's informing them and educating them of their options prior to anything that may occur is very important. And there are a number of great programs such as PrEP, which apparently is a drug that can be administered to HIV people that have contracted HIV, and it actually makes it not show in their blood, so it allows them to maybe have relations with their partner that they weren't able to have, that they weren't able to before. So, great program. Pride in July, they've got a function on tomorrow night. It'll be a comedy stand-up night. Now, this will be a streamed live event. There won't be any spectators. This was all booked prior to COVID. So you'll be able to watch it at home, but I'll be there hopefully with Bryce or another creative, and we'll be filming the behind the scenes. So that's quite an honour once again. We've got a couple of other interviews coming out this week with Pride in July, and of course following that we've got a performance. I was fortunate enough to have a photo shoot and interview with some of the performers, and these drag queens and kings will be in full lustre, dressed to the nines. Some of them have performed overseas. They're very, very talented. As a filmmaker, the story side for me of their journey was, I still haven't processed what they've shared, because times weren't as open, as forgiving, and as understanding as they were today. So to hear about some of the stories in the 80s and 90s were just horrifying, but also promising to hear that we've come so far, and now that these people, not these people, but they're accepted, they're fellow members of our community are openly accepted no matter their choices. So rather than saying that, that's I think a more correct way to say it. So Pride in July, check that out. Thank you again to DRN1. Next, big shout out to Dan Greta. So as you know, I was fortunate enough to do a photo shoot, and I guess I can say now, an interview with Dan Greta. The interview will be, I am unable to release it, but if you stay affixed to either the main media channels or whatnot, you'll be able to see the interview hopefully released along with a training tape of his. So I'd like to wish Dan all the best as he goes on into the 2020-2021 season with the NBL and the Illawarra Hawks. He, as you know, had a ACL tear prior to COVID, was able to get into hospital very quickly, and he's eager to get back out there. He's been training every day. He's looking fantastic. I hope the other players have been training, because he's on his game. Next coming up, of course, I'd like to thank Coach Glossop and, of course, Brian Carwell, and once again the other creatives at the free runs. I wasn't unable to attend last weekend, but I've still got a video from the week prior that I will release very soon. So that's coming up. Also, a big shout out to Frank Johnson from Be The Student Basketball. I've worked with him twice now in the past, past 2 weeks, and I've had the most amazing opportunity to be able to film him and some amazing NCAA basketball athlete, absolutely superstar representing Australia in the US, Mario Madding, and Duop Reith. He's another superstar who plays at the college level in the US. I don't have his details on me because I'm just finishing editing his hello, good to see you there. So yeah, stay tuned for those with Frank Johnson and Be The Student Basketball. Next, of course, is Full Court Fitness. So you may have seen something in my stories about I finally did it. Well, the story behind that is Full Court Fitness and Adam Westerhouse offered me my first filming job about 2.5 years ago. And it was filming his basketball skills training course, and it was a short minute commercial promo. I'm very embarrassed to even mention it because I look at it these days and it's absolutely shocking. It's terrible. But last week I finally delivered to him a video which will now hopefully sit upon his Facebook page. And this is a big deal for me because after that very first job, I set myself the goal of wanting to make a video that was high enough a quality to replace the one that he currently has on his Facebook business page. Shout out to James, I can't remember his surname. The lovely photographer, very talented man before, James, James O'Donoghue. He was there on that shoot. His video's been there for 2 years and I finally knocked that video off. So sorry about that, James, yeah, Paulie's here now. No, I'm joking, I was very arrogant. But for me, it was a great personal goal because it means that someone values my work, that they're willing to represent their brand with my work. So that was, that's still a daydream along with the Dan Greta interview. Next on the list, of course, is big shout out to Coach Morley. We've got some training tapes coming out from his session. Sorry for the delay on those, everyone. And also the lovely Mimi Mapira. Now, she's my younger sister, apart from the difference in skin colour and mothers and cultures. But she's a fantastic young creator from Perth. This young lady is so intelligent and so strong, and just she's someone I see as a role model for all young women. She's absolutely amazing. Like me, she's a woman of faith, and what she did on the weekend was she assembled an amazing group of very, very intelligent people. I've never heard such amazing discussion before, and this was a panel of 10 young, amazing minds that came together to discuss a number of topics, and I was once again honoured to be there, because they're all way above my pay grade in terms of intelligence. You know, they're all studying very intellectual subjects at university. I left uni after the first year, then went back, and I was only doing business. So I mean, it's compared to what they're doctors and lawyers, and they're the future leaders of the world. So to be able to meet all them, that was fantastic. And of course, shout out to my man Charles Kativu. Now Charles, he's recovering from his two ACL tears. One at the end of 2019, one earlier this year. And I think from what I hear, he'll be coming back and starting an elite skills training program. So congratulations to Charles on that. It's fantastic to see him get that underway. I know he's been getting a lot of people asking him about when are you going to be training, what's the go. So congratulations, Charles. Lastly, I just want to thank all my friends. Having a support structure around you, no matter what, is so important, whether it be family, friends, and it's not quantity, it's the quality. In particular, I've got 3 amazing friends, Bryce, John and Charles, not in any particular order, that are 3 of the most caring, kind, giving, selfless, just good people I've ever met. They are always looking out for me. They always give me the best advice. Hi, little Steezy. So I just want to thank them, because I don't know if I say it, but pretty much everything that I have today in my career is because of these guys. They've supported me. They've told me when to do something and when not to do something. You don't want yes men around you. This is actually a great point. I've often heard it referred to as the what is it? If you've got 10 men in a room, you don't want all 10 men to say yes, because if they all say yes, you're making the wrong decision. And John, Bryce and I will agree on very little. They are completely different people from me, from completely different backgrounds. However, and same with Charles. However, their opinions I appreciate, because I know that their interests and their care is for me. I mean, a lot of you may have experienced that your whole lives. I have only become aware of it recently, in the last couple of years, and I'm very grateful for it. So, I mean, of course, I've got my amazing family, but these fine gentlemen, they've when I think I may have a good idea, they've said, no, Paul, that's not a good idea, or they've made me think it and challenge. Not no as in they're being negative, but no as in think it through, Paul. They've challenged me to work my ideas out, to find problems in my ideas, or whether it be a related issue or a concept for a video, or the way I approach a certain project. I'll run it past both of them, because they will see things outside of the box that I will see. They won't agree with me on much, but because of that, I'm then able, and I don't take it personally when they don't. That's another thing. I know that they're saying no because they care about me. So they're looking out for me, and they don't want me to damage my image or hurt myself or whatnot. So that then makes me reassess things and go, okay, am I approaching this the right way? are they? I'll even ask them follow-up questions. Do you have any suggestions on what I can do and work through this? Because that then leads to a creative solution and the best outcome for everybody. So yeah, you want a team of people, a group of friends that may not always agree with you and may have different opinions, but do care for you. So that's a weird concept to sum up, but that I'm very, very grateful for, because a lot of what I believe I've achieved, I owe to them, because I've been able to run things past them, and you know, that's ever so helpful to have that team around you. Never have I ever. You may see me out filming by myself, but I would have spoken to someone or got advice from someone, or maybe I will team up with someone and there'll be someone else working on it and I'll collaborate with them. I try to include as many people as possible. And some people say too many cooks spoil the broth, and yes, that can be right, but if you have the right people, you get, as I said, it's like having a group of scientists all working together for a creative problem, and you get the best outcome, and your expectations are then exceeded, I feel, because you maybe achieve things that you didn't want to achieve in the first place. So yeah, big shout out to them. So I'll leave that there for tonight. Now, I guess I've got to do a shameless plug before I go. So, yes, you're going to comment, yes, hey, I've been cycling. You saw that? I've been cycling, so before, you can already see the box. Yeah, I'm guilty. I've got editing to do. What are you going to do? So everyone, listen, stay awesome. I know it's been a somber podcast. I will be back with Pride in July tomorrow. Be sure to follow on DRN1 Live. The sound of Perth. The sound of Perth. Sorry, that was terrible. Have a great Friday. Stay safe. Be kind. Be awesome. Eat pizza. Peace out.